Ah, Rome, the ancient superpower that practically invented world domination long before that became cool. They gave us roads, gladiators, and of course pizza. Well, sort of. But how did this colossal empire rise to dominate the world? And more importantly, how did it crumble faster than a poorly built sandcastle? Let's dive into the roller coaster ride of Rome's rise and fall, packed with betrayal, power grabs, and just a pinch of sibling rivalry. Legend has it that Rome was founded by two brothers, Romulus and Remus, who were raised by a she-wolf. I mean, if that's not an epic start, I don't know what is. Apparently, these two got into a little disagreement over where to build their city. Spoiler alert, Romulus wins, but only because, well, he killed his brother. Yeah, family therapy wasn't really a thing back then. Fast forward to 509 BCE, and Rome's outgrown its small-town vibes. They ditched their kings, because who needs a monarchy, right? And became a republic. Now, things were getting serious, or as serious as they could be for a bunch of toga-wearing folks figuring out democracy. Fast forward to 509 BCE, and Rome's outgrown its small-town vibes. They ditched their kings, because who needs a monarchy, right? And became a republic. Now, things were getting serious, or as serious as they could be for a bunch of toga-wearing folks figuring out democracy. Once the Republic got rolling, Rome did what any rising empire would do. It started beating up its neighbors. Rome's military expansion was like that kid in school who had to collect every Pokemon card. Italy, Carthage, Gaul, no one was safe. Ever heard of the Punic Wars? That's when Rome faced off against Carthage, and let's just say Rome didn't play nice. Carthage went from thriving Mediterranean city to oops, it's burning pretty quickly. As the army expanded, so did the political drama back home. Rome's government was run by the Senate and consuls, which sounds fancy, but really it was just a bunch of old guys in robes arguing all day. They had a pretty impressive system, though, if you didn't mind the occasional backstab, literally. Think Game of Thrones, but with more Latin. One of the rising stars in this chaotic political world was a guy named Julius Caesar. He wasn't just a salad enthusiast. Caesar was ambitious, think world domination ambitious. He led Rome to military victories that made him a superstar, but all that fame eventually got to his head, and we all know what happens when someone gets too big for their toga. So here's where things get juicy. The Roman Republic starts to feel more like a soap opera. Enter Julius Caesar and his best frenemy Pompey. These two were tight at first, but power has a funny way of tearing people apart. What followed was a civil war that made Thanksgiving dinner arguments seem like child's play. Caesar won, obviously, because history books aren't named after losers, but in winning he did something unheard of. He declared himself dictator for life, which, as you can imagine, didn't sit well with his fellow senators. Turns out, when you tell a bunch of ambitious politicians they're no longer in charge, they tend to get stabby. On March 15th, 44 BCE, yep, the Ides of March, Caesar met his fate, courtesy of a group of knife-wielding senators and his old buddy Brutus. Et tu, Brute? More like et ouch. The year was 44 BC. Julius Caesar, the all-powerful dictator of Rome, lay dead, stabbed 23 times by his own senators. Alliances shifted, betrayals abounded, and everyone scrambled for power in the ensuing chaos. Rome, once the proud republic, was now a boiling pot of ambition and uncertainty. Caesar's death had left a massive power vacuum. Who would fill it? Would Rome descend into another civil war? The senators who had conspired against Caesar believed they were restoring the republic, but they had unleashed forces they couldn't control. Octavian's first move was to form an alliance with Mark Antony and Lepidus, two of Caesar's powerful generals. This triumvirate aimed to restore order and punish Caesar's assassins, like a powerful but uneasy corporate merger. They divided Rome's territories amongst themselves, ruling with an iron fist, but the alliance was built on shaky ground. Antony was drawn to Egypt and Cleopatra, while Lepidus was sidelined by Octavian. Octavian focused on consolidating his power within Rome, presenting himself as the champion of the people. Through skillful political maneuvering and military victories, Octavian gradually outmaneuvered his rivals. He defeated Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, effectively ending the civil war. Lepidus had long been neutralized. Octavian stood alone, the undisputed master of Rome. The teenage underdog had become the ultimate victor. With absolute power in his grasp, Octavian knew he needed to tread carefully. Outright declaring himself king would have been disastrous, so he embarked on a brilliant campaign of rebranding. He took the title Augustus, meaning revered one, and presented himself as the first citizen, the restorer of the Republic. Augustus initiated reforms aimed at stabilizing the empire, reorganizing the army, reforming the tax system, and beautifying Rome. He built temples, aqueducts, and public baths, showcasing his commitment to the welfare of the Roman people. He also established the Praetorian Guard, an elite force loyal only to him. Augustus subtly consolidated his control, ensuring his position as the undisputed ruler of Rome. Augustus's reign ushered in a period of unprecedented peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana. For 2 centuries, the Roman Empire enjoyed relative stability, a welcome respite after decades of civil war. It was a golden age of economic growth, cultural flourishing, and territorial expansion. The Pax Romana facilitated trade and communication throughout the vast empire. Roads, bridges, and aqueducts were built, connecting distant provinces and fostering economic growth. The Roman Empire had become a globalized world, interconnected and interdependent. This period of stability allowed Roman culture to flourish, with literature, art, architecture, and philosophy reaching new heights. The Pax Romana was a time of unprecedented achievement, a testament to the stability and prosperity that Augustus had brought to Rome. Roman culture during the Pax Romana was a vibrant mix of tradition and innovation. The Romans borrowed heavily from Greek culture, adapting and transforming it into something uniquely their own. Their contributions to literature, art, architecture, and law continue to influence us today. Roman literature produced giants like Virgil, Horace, and Ovid, whose works explored themes of love, war, fate, and the human condition. Roman architecture was characterized by grandeur and practicality, with structures like the Colosseum and the Pantheon. These structures stand as testaments to Roman engineering ingenuity and artistic vision. Roman law, with its emphasis on justice and order, provided a framework for legal systems for centuries to come. Principles like innocent until proven guilty and the right to a fair trial have their roots in Roman law. Their legal legacy continues to shape our understanding of justice and fairness. The 3rd century AD brought a period of turmoil and instability known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century. The empire faced a series of challenges, including economic decline, political instability, and barbarian invasions. A rapid succession of emperors, often military generals seizing power through force, led to political chaos. The empire was plagued by civil wars and internal strife. Economic woes, including inflation and declining trade, further weakened the empire. The cost of maintaining a large army and vast bureaucracy put a strain on the imperial treasury. To address these challenges, Emperor Diocletian implemented a series of reforms, including dividing the empire into 2 halves, the East and the West. This division was intended to make the empire more manageable and easier to defend. However, this division would ultimately pave the way for the eventual fall of the Western Roman Empire. By the 5th century, the Western Roman Empire was like a crumbling old mansion, once grand, now barely holding on. Rome's walls were shaking, and it wasn't just bad weather. The real storm came in the form of barbarian invasions. The Visigoths, Vandals, and Ostrogoths were like the neighbors who got tired of being pushed around and decided it was time to knock on Rome's door with battering rams. In 410 CE, Rome faced the unthinkable. The Visigoths sacked the city. It was a shockwave felt around the world. Imagine if your Instagram account got hacked, but on an empire-wide scale. The once invincible city of Rome was looted and left in ruins. But the final blow came in 476 CE when the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, yes, he was named after the guy who founded Rome, talk about coming full circle, was deposed by the barbarian leader Odoacer. And just like that, the Western Roman Empire was game over. No dramatic final battle, just a quiet whimper. Now, just because the Western Roman Empire fell, don't think for a second that Rome's influence faded away. Oh no, this empire was like that playlist you keep listening to long after it's over. Rome left an epic legacy that still shapes our world today. From the rule of law, which laid the foundation for modern legal systems, to the architecture of domes and arches that you see everywhere, to the languages spoken across Europe, Rome was the original influencer. And while the West collapsed, the Eastern Roman Empire, aka Byzantium, was still thriving like the cool cousin who figured out how to stay relevant for another 1,000 years. They kept the Roman legacy alive while Europe went through the Dark Ages. So even after the fall, Rome's story didn't really end, it just got a spin-off series. So there you have it. Rome started as a scrappy little city-state, rose to become the most powerful empire the world had ever seen, and then, like all great things, it eventually fell. It's a classic story of ambition, power, glory, and yes, a bit of overreach. From Romulus and Remus to Julius Caesar and Augustus, to the eventual fall of Romulus Augustulus, Rome's journey is both inspiring and cautionary. But the story of Rome isn't just about dusty history books. It's about how civilizations rise, how power shifts, and what it takes to hold things together. And as we look around today, we still see lessons from Rome about leadership, resilience, and what happens when a society forgets what made it strong in the first place. So, remember, all empires fall, but the mark they leave on the world, that can last forever. Thanks for joining me on this epic journey through the rise and fall of Rome. If you enjoyed the video and learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And hey, why not subscribe to stick around for more history, fun facts, and epic stories? Oh, and don't forget to share this with your friends. After all, who doesn't love a good Roman drama? See you in the next one.